So where we left off, all right, so I'm currently trying to do 16 times row 2 plus row 4. So I got these two zeros because the zeros, they stay zeros. Then 1 times 16 is 16 plus negative 16 is 0. 16 times negative 3 is negative 48 plus negative 14. When I do that, I'm going to get negative 62. Now 16 times 0 is 0 plus 7 is 7. And 16 times negative 7. Okay, let's see what that is. 16 times negative 7 is negative 112. Okay, then I'm going to add it to negative 33, and I get negative 145. Okay, here, let me make this a little bigger. 145. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, remember, one step at a time. So 1 with the zeros here, 1 with the zeros here. Now we just have to try and get a 1 here. Now luckily for us, that row has negative 9, 0, and negative 18. So I can make that 1 by multiplying by negative 1 over 9, and I don't have to worry about getting any fractions. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take all this and write it over here. One, 0, 0, 0, negative 3, 1, 0, 0. Let me fill in just what's not changing. Okay. And negative 9 times negative 1/9 is positive 1. Now it's 0, so it's going to stay 0. And negative 1/9 times negative 18 is 2. And then the negative 62, 7, and negative 145. Okay. So I'm getting there. Patience is a virtue. So, all right, I got the 1. Now I just need to use that row with row 4 to change it. So it's negative 62 in row 4. I want that to be a 0. So I'm going to multiply the 1 by 62 to make it match and eliminate. Okay, now I'm going to have 1, negative 3, negative 2, 1, line, negative 3. 0, 1, negative 3, 0, negative 7. 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. And then last, I'm going to have 0, 0. Now I'm going to get, let me fix this just to make it smaller. 62 times 1 is 62, plus negative 62 is 0. Now 62 times 0, that's 0, plus 7, you get 7. Now 2 times 62 is 124. Minus or plus negative 145, we're going to get negative 21. Okay, I'm fine if you use your calculator here. So now things look a little better. You're like, oh, the big numbers got out of the way. So now all I have to do is to make all this perfect in that row echelon form, I just need to multiply row 4 by 1 over 7, because it's the same as dividing by 7. And when I do that, I get my row echelon form. It should be positive 1. 0, 1, negative 3, 0, negative 7, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 1, and it will be negative 3. So, got the row echelon form. Got my 1s, and I got the 0s below. So now I can finally rewrite this as a system. So it's 1w minus 3x minus 2y plus z equals negative 3. x minus 3y equals negative 7, because there's no z there. With this one, I just have y equals 2 and z equals negative 3. So with this one, you lucked out that 2 of them were already solved for you. And now I just have to use back substitution to find x and w. So x is x minus 3 times y, which is 2, equals negative 7. X minus 6 equals negative 7. I add 6 to both sides, and I get an x of negative 1. Now w minus 3 times negative 1 minus 2 times 2 plus negative 3 equals negative 3. So when I go to simplify this, w plus 3 minus 4 minus 3 equals negative 3. Well, when I go to combine this, I'm going to get w minus 4 equals negative 3, and I add 4 to both sides, and I get a w of 1. So my final answer is going to be w, put the w in there, 1, negative 1, 2, and negative 3. I hope you guys got that too. Now, you could pause real quick here to kind of look through everything. Remember, if you want a different approach to it, that's fine, as long as you're using your 3 options of swapping and multiplying a constant and adding 2 rows together, and you're doing it right, you're going to be fine, okay? Now, if you see in your note packet, you have the solving systems using, this is called reduced row echelon form. Row echelon form. However, if you could do the regular main diagonal with zeros below, there's no need, okay? This is just another way in which you could go about this, so we're just going to skip this. There's no need, okay? I should have deleted this in the first place, but I always leave it just in case, but it's not worth it. So we're going to skip this. It's the same as example, I believe example 2. It was the first one we did. Yeah, it's example 2. Just it showed you, I was going to show you how to do reduced row where you get the main one, but everything else is zeros. But don't worry. What I do want you to do right now is pause the video and try this out, okay? Now, notice how this one is missing an x, right? So think about it as a 0x. That's like a 1, right? So when you go to write this as an augmented matrix, you're going to write 0, 1, negative 3, 3, 5, 6, negative 1, negative 1, 2, line, negative 1, negative 4, 11. Okay? Now, pause the video, try it out. Now, just a heads up, you will not be able to avoid fractions here, okay? So pause the video, try it out, okay? And come back and I'll show you how to do it. Now, if you decided not to pause the video, okay, here we go. Or you actually paused the video and now you're going to look to see how to do it, and if you got it right, just know that your answer should be negative 3, 0, 1. Okay, so if you already did it yourself and you got this, you should feel awesome. If not, maybe you got the 1 and the 0 but not the negative 3. Let's just look to see what we may have done wrong. Now, what I'm going to do first is, now I got that 0 there, right? I don't want that there. I want a 1 there. So I am going to replace row 1 and row 2. So, because when I do that, I don't have to worry, I finally have the 1 up top like I want. So I'm going to have 1, 5, negative 1, line, negative 4. 0, 3, negative 1, negative 1, and negative 3, 6, 2, 11. So, luckily I already had a 0 in a spot that I was going to want to get a 0 anyway. So I just need to make a 0 where that negative 3 is. So I'm going to multiply row 1 by 3 and add row 3. Because if I multiply a 3 to 1, I get it to match, and they already have opposite sides, so I just add. So Remember, 1, 5, negative 1, line, negative 4. Keep row 2 the same. And now I'm going to get 1 times 3 is 3, plus negative 3 is 0. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 6 is 21. And negative 1 times 3 is negative 3, plus 2 is negative 1. And then negative 4 times 3 is negative 12, plus 11 is negative 1. So I got my 1 with my zeros. Now I just need to move on and make the next one. Now if you look, if I multiply a third to row 2, I will get 0, 1, negative a third, line, negative a third. Now let's see row 3, if that's easier. I would have to multiply 1 over 21 to row 2, to row 3, and I would get 0, 1, negative 1 over 21, line, negative 1 over 21. I think you guys can agree with me that we would rather work with a third than 1 over 21. So let's just change row 2. So here we go. So row 1 is 1, 5, negative 1, line, negative 4. Then I'm going to have 0, 1, negative a third, negative a third. And then I'll have the 0, 21, negative 1, negative 1. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make the 0 underneath that 1. Now I got to use row 2 with row 3. Now if you want to kind of do it this way, you can multiply negative 21 to row 2 and then add it. Or you can multiply positive 21 and minus. It really doesn't matter. So I'm just going to keep the negative 21. So it's 1, 5, negative 1, line, negative 4. 0, 1, negative a third, negative a third. And then I'll get 0, obviously. Negative 21 plus 21 is 0. Negative 21 times negative a third, it's actually positive 7. Plus negative 1 is 6.